Good evening. The Chancellor, George Osborne, defended his policy of austerity today in the face of a warning from a leading credit agency that Britain is in danger of losing its prized AAA rating. It was, he said, a reality check. Confirmation that continuing to tackle the nation's deficit is the top priority.
The Chancellor was buoyed by news that inflation is coming down. It's now at its lowest rate in more than a year, but it is still above target. And Labour insists the coalition needs to start encouraging growth. Our economics editor Richard Edgar reports on a day of mixed messages for Britain's economy.
They're three letters which symbolise the strength of an economy, its credit rating. But today, Britain's AAA has been put in question. Moody's, a rating agency, says there's a risk it may downgrade the UK over the next year and a half. It blames the weaker economic climate, making it harder for the government to pay down huge debts amassed in recent years, as well as the Eurozone crisis, which could hurt Britain. The Chancellor has seized on the comments as backing for his austerity cuts.
This is a clear warning that Britain has to deal with its debts. We as a government are not going to waver in our commitment of doing just that. And I see this as a reality check to the whole political system and indeed the whole country that Britain has to confront its debt problem, and the British government is doing precisely that.
The opposition doesn't quite see it like that. Labour says the missing ingredient is growth.
This is a weather vane for the direction of the wind and where it's blowing, and if even they are losing confidence in the Chancellor's plans, then it's seriously time for him to wake up, smell the coffee and realise he's got to change plan.
Beyond the politics, a AAA rating matters because the government's borrowing costs, and eventually that of businesses and individuals, are lower when markets have confidence. The rating can contribute towards that. This appliance recycling business is looking to expand, but first needs millions of pounds to buy crucial machinery, and that would be at risk if rates went up.
If we were in a country that had a much higher risk around it because the economy was struggling and the interest rates were higher, it just means growth gets slower and slower. It means businesses like ours that are successful find it harder and harder to go and get that growth because the cost of investing in growing is so much higher.
For now, though, the warning from Moody's is just that and could come out in the wash. The latest data in the economic cycle is a fall in inflation from 4.2% to 3.6% in January. Falling prices will help households as much as businesses and are just the sort of good news that could help prevent a chill. Richard Edgar, ITV News.
And to our political correspondent, Libby Vina at Westminster now. Libby, the Chancellor being forced once again to defend his austerity package.
Well, yes, I think the one thing George Osborne couldn't afford to do today was to ignore this warning of a possible downgrade. Having put so much store on Britain's AAA rating, I think the merest hint that we could be in line for a downgrade while on his watch, I think it was something he felt he had to address, and he did. Coming out very robustly saying that if you look at the fine print of what Moody's are saying, it does suggest that we need to stick to his plan, the so-called Plan A, and continue to pay off our debts. But if you also look at the fine print, I think the problem for him, as Labour has been pointing out, is that it suggests that we have another problem, and that is the continuing sluggish growth in the economy. I think the danger for the Chancellor is that the voters out there, what they will take away from today is the fact that his plan, austerity, 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 doesn't necessarily add up to a AAA rating.
Libby, thank you.
Well, our economics editor Richard Edgar is here. So, Richard, within the detail of the report, there is some good news, though, isn't there?
There is. I mean, it's never good to get a warning like this, and there certainly are headwinds that are facing the British economy. We've got the economy that actually shrank in the last 3 months of last year. We've got rising unemployment and a huge budget deficit. But there was support from Moody's themselves in their report today. When you look at the detail, they're saying that Britain has a large and diversified and highly competitive economy, a particularly flexible labour market, a banking sector that compares very well with their peers in the euro area, and also that we have gone through the significant structural reforms which many of the weaker Eurozone countries are yet to do. That's the pain that they're having to go through at the moment. Also, we've got the Bank of England, which can and is printing money when needed, and we have the lowest refinancing risk of any of the AAA countries. This means that, on average, British government loans are aren't due for renewal for another 14 years. So the verdict is that there are threats to the UK, but Britain has the wherewithal to tackle them.
All right, and talking of that pain that you were talking about the Eurozone countries going through, some breaking news tonight. There is more doubt about the Greek bailout package, isn't there?
Yes, Eurozone finance ministers were due to meet tomorrow, but that's been downgraded to a telephone call. We understand that's because Greece still hasn't got some technical issues sorted out. But I think this simply shows these are the problems that the Eurozone is having to tackle that could spread to the UK. This is what Moody's is warning about.
All right, Richard, thank you.